Hello, trading is closed on January 13th, 2016. My last prediction said that the action was incredibly negative unless we gapped over yesterday's high. When it's this close, you can't rely on cash. You have to go to the futures market. And let's do that. Yesterday's high was 1940.25 futures. The open was 1939.25 futures, so we did not have a gap over yesterday's high. We thought that would be incredibly negative, and I guess that call worked. It's kind of a close call when you close under the high and promptly take it out. Many times in a more favorable environment that's good enough, but in an unfavorable environment, and particularly when the breakthrough is reversed immediately, you really can't give these things too much slack. Well, we now have 4 days straight where we gapped up and couldn't hold on to it. That should lead to a big drop, and the only question is if we've dropped enough already. Early on, MEJT said ultimately lower prices would print. They did. It also gives us an optional target of 1944.54. If it doesn't print by tomorrow, we forget it. Last year there were 158 such targets of this nature. 151 printed and 7 did not. 7 out of the 158 doesn't sound like too much, but let's not forget in the last 21 months we've only had 3 days with all the targets of all the other kinds put together where the prices did not print, and 2 of them were at market highs where a failed target is part of the system. In the afternoon, the system said sell. The S means if the move is immediate, it tends to be strong, and that worked. So what are the chances we've dropped enough for this 1944.54 target to print tomorrow? Well, catching the falling knife in markets like this probably isn't the best way to make money. As far as a long-term low is concerned, I don't think the volume was enough, but there are some indications besides MEJT that if this low holds, we could get a good rally. There are a number of things. One is we dropped all day long and we couldn't close under the middle of the day low unless we gap under it. That tends to be positive. We had a drop all day long. The technique I use, you take the range of the only consolidation, set that to 23.6%, and you'll see here it gives us a close approximation of that low, and here it hits the low on the nose, so there's a chance that'll work. You connect these 2 lows and you come up with that price right over there. Here's your Andrews pitchfork. It all comes to the same price. Today had the largest range of any of the days of the drop. There's a rule that the largest range day is the day of the low. Of course, it doesn't mean that we won't have a larger range collapse tomorrow. You don't know that until the drop's over. But at least we have a number of things all targeting that price. We do have a failure of the DeMark signals to go long, the buy signals in the 78-minute chart, but we have to go below today's close by at least a tick to confirm them. Otherwise, the signal does not count. The same thing goes for the failure of the 30-minute chart. Here was bar 13. We never really traded over it very much. That's incredibly negative action, but it's possible we've already dropped enough to satisfy those negative implications. There are some other things in the pattern. These lows tend to be targets, Fibonacci targets of the prior consolidation. Remember how we took this range, set it at 38.2%, it identified that low. If you take this low, that identifies this low here. And if you take the range from here to here, it helps identify this low. We have a nice Fibonacci pattern here. This low and this low both target that price. In addition, if you look at the consolidation over here, and you set this at 38.2%, you'll see a lot of Fibonacci targets right at that price. I still have hopes that we get a recovery to this line. There's nothing requiring it to happen now, but it would make for a cleaner picture if we did. We have a drop to, but not through, a target of a number of different patterns. The fact that it's been violated in futures doesn't really count. If we have a gap under this low tomorrow, we have broken through a major support level. I think it's entirely possible we just keep on dropping, and we could even drop as low. Where's my other chart? We could even drop as low as the 1839 plus target, which is a target and not a stop and reverse level. On the other hand, if that does not carry through tomorrow, and particularly if we gap up strongly, that's my target, 1944.54. Remember, if this fails, it fails in a big way, and this is not something I would feel comfortable with trading in either direction overnight. But if anybody still thinks there's some hope for the bulls here, this is the price at which you ought to place your bets. And that's today's call.